Jade Cargill fans are going to be disappointed if they expect this to happen in this video. I'm going to tell you exactly what that is, and no, I don't think it's going to happen. There's been a ton of just information going around Jade Cargill, and really no one seems to know what's going on. But I would say this, when it comes to reports of Jade Cargill's status, I would go with what is the majority saying, not what one outlet is reporting. That's not a knock on an outlet or anything like that. It's just the fact of the situation. So what is going on with Jade Cargill? Well, she's keeping up with her training schedule while away from WWE television. That is something we do know. Now, look, 2 months ago, WWE did an injury angle on SmackDown when a mystery attacker ambushed her in a backstage segment, leaving her laid out on top of the card. The original belief was that Cargill was going to be out of action for a while due to her being suffering from a legitimate injury, with her absence to be at least 3 months, if not longer. Well, we're coming up on that time frame. Now, since then, there's been a conflicting report because PW Insider came out on Thanksgiving saying, hey, Jade Cargill, she ain't injured, and the mystery attacker was just simply done for a storyline angle. It's worth noting that other outlets have noted that Cargill is listed on the internal injury list. They don't kayfabe that list. That's an internal list only, given to creative and other top executives saying, hey, we have this talent, or hey, we don't have this talent available for various reasons, whether that be for vacation, whether that be their contract's about to come due, or because of their injury status. Now, Jade Cargill, she was reportedly on vacation with her family in mid-December. PW Insider came out with a recent report noting that Cargill was back at the Performance Center. This is her third straight week that she's been at the Performance Center, and there is still no word yet on when she will be back on television. So that's the very, very latest on Jade Cargill's status. So PW Insider is claiming, hey, this is an injury angle. She's not really injured. Weird, but okay. At a time in which multiple outlets, your Meltzers, your Fightfuls, your WrestleVotes, etc., have stated she's injured. Like, we don't know why they're reporting this. So it's very, very weird. And to PW Insider's credit, to Mike Johnson's credit, one of the most accurate reporters out there, they've not backed down on their reports or their claims that, hey, this is just part of an angle. So it got me thinking. We have the Royal Rumble coming up. Obviously, WWE, they like to save surprises. They like to bring back former talent. They like to bring back injured talent. They like to introduce new talent, perhaps even a surprise appearance from a TNA talent. And it got me thinking, would WWE consider putting Jade Cargill in the Women's Royal Rumble match? And I was looking at the pros and the cons of everything and how that would look. While, yes, it would be a nice surprise for Jade Cargill to show up and come out, if you look at the way that they've done this storyline, I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think fans should expect to see Jade Cargill in the Women's Royal Rumble match. Here's why. You have a mystery attacker angle. They're still trying to figure out the mystery attacker angle. Wouldn't you rather have Jade Cargill return knowing who the attacker is, saying who the attacker is, and then going after the attacker, instead of just her randomly showing up in the Women's Royal Rumble match and potentially going away from that storyline of her being able to win the Women's Royal Rumble match and going on to WrestleMania and challenging for the Women's World title or the Women's Championship? It doesn't make a lot of sense for her just to show up, despite the fact that she would get a noticeable pop. I mean, a year ago, she made her WWE debut after signing with the company the year prior. Yes, that would make a memorable moment, but it wouldn't fit the narrative. It wouldn't fit the storyline. Now, in the time in which Jade Cargill has been off of WWE television, what has happened? Well, they've moved forward with Bianca Belair being the Women's Tag Team Champion. They've introduced Naomi, and she has essentially filled the spot of Jade Cargill, right? She is now the second half of the Women's Tag Team Champions alongside Bianca Belair because Jade Cargill can't wrestle, or supposedly that's the storyline, right? And they're still trying to figure it out, and they've planted the seeds, and they've really, really made it clear Naomi is probably the attacker. When that time comes of Jade Cargill coming back, we don't know. When that time comes, when Jade Cargill returns and confronts her attacker, reveals her attacker, we don't know. There's a lot unknown here. Now, I will say this. If we go back to the original timetable, they did the injury angle in November. It was random. It was out of the blue. It made no sense at the time. There had been no indication that she was injured. There was nothing said of what the exact injury was. Nothing of the sorts. Very, very random out of the blue type situation, right? I think everybody can agree with that. No one saw it coming. If you look at the landscape of WWE. You know, they've moved certain talents around. Bayley is now on Monday Night Raw from SmackDown. You need to keep that women's division thriving. Now, obviously, Charlotte Flair is returning. Becky Lynch is going to be going back to Monday Night Raw whenever. She's going to need to be on SmackDown. So I don't see her moving to Monday Night Raw. And so I think she will be on SmackDown when she comes back. What do you do, though, with Jade Cargill once she does return? Well, I think it would be pretty clear that she does the mystery attacker angle match, right? Whoever is the mystery attacker, you do the match, pick a date, it doesn't matter. It's probably not going to be at WrestleMania unless Jade Cargill is either severely injured and she can't return for another 3 months, or they want to keep her off of television. Whatever the belief that you guys have out there, whether you believe the reports, you don't believe the reports, I'm not here to say nor there, but I will say this. I think at the end of the day, you have a situation in which you can line up a potential really fun next few months with Jade Cargill, regardless of when she returns. As long as she returns, let's say before March, you got a little bit of wiggle room here where you can even blow off the mystery attacker match on television, right? Like, you don't necessarily have to do it at a PLE. Historically speaking, WWE likes to save big time matches with big time stars for their PLEs. Mostly it's championship matches and or gimmick matches. I don't know if this would necessarily lead to them booking it at, say, a Elimination Chamber next month. I also don't think they have an event in March, but I digress. So where you can play this out is do the blow off match on television. That's fine. You can have them headline SmackDown if you wanted to. And then you go and whatever your creative plans are for her, I would assume they involve Bianca Belair. I assume once she gets done with the mystery attacker angle, you are going to have Jade and Bianca running off like they had been with the Women's Tag Team Championships. It's possible that they do the Bianca Belair match. I highly doubt it. At Mania this year, you could have them go off in separate ways. Either way, right? Like, they kept Bianca Belair as a Women's Tag Team Champion, and they've kept the titles on them because they are waiting for Jade Cargill to return. Whether that's because of injury or whether that's because of storyline, it doesn't matter. That's just what they're doing. So I'm very curious to see what they do with Jade Cargill when she returns. I'm very curious to see what you guys have to say about Jade Cargill and what they should do. Is it time to bring her back, or do you wait a little bit? Either way, I don't see her returning at the Women's Royal Rumble match. But hey, I could be wrong. We will see how it all plays out.